Hello and welcome to This Week in East Brunswick, the township's own news and information program. Today the library's 20th anniversary celebration tops our list of stories. We'll also watch the opening of the realigned Ryders Lane. Our regular features will include health facts from Dr. Samuel Laufer, with information on a new surgical procedure for the treatment of scoliosis. Also Consumer Aware with Adrian Eisner's tips on buying a home, plus our Township Council review. Before these stories, here's next week's schedule. Monday at 10 a.m., exercise with Lenore Kulik on Look Great, Feel Great. Then at 10:30, a special one-hour edition of Target with Paula Durant discussing Martin Luther King. Tuesday evening at 7, In Print features author Elizabeth Forsythe Haley discussing her book, A Woman of Independent Means. Let's Talk Health follows at 7:30 with information about the American Liver Foundation with host Ken Shalhoub. Then at 8 p.m., Paul Hansen and accountant Frank Polino discuss your 1986 tax returns on You and Your Money. Wednesday at 3 p.m., it's Stories, read by East Brunswick librarians. Then Wednesday evening at 7:30, it's Spotlight on Education with Dr. Joseph Sweeney. And we'll be back next Thursday at 7 and 8 with another edition of This Week in East Brunswick. Watch Channel 8's program guide for repeats of all these programs.
This past Sunday kicked off a 4-month-long celebration recognizing the East Brunswick Library's 20th birthday. As usual, as on any other Sunday, a crowd of people waited outside the doors to be opened at 1 p.m. Inside, they were welcomed by Library Director David Weil and confronted with a display of 20 birthday cakes donated by local restaurants, schools, and bakeries. On hand to cut and serve the cakes were local authors, actors, past and present councilmen, the mayor, and Miss New Jersey, USA. The festivities started with greetings and remarks from distinguished guests.
Well, this is truly a happy occasion. This library is just a phenomenal facility in our community. This morning, or this afternoon I should say, many of you waited outside the door to get in. And that's not just because the birthday celebration is today. You can come over here any Sunday afternoon about 12:45 and you'll find a line of people outside the door waiting to get into this building. And that is just an incredible testimony to the value of this facility to East Brunswick. But you know, the facility itself really doesn't mean very much. You can get a building and fill it up with books and other material, and that doesn't really give you a library. What gives you a library are a group of dedicated citizens and residents who are concerned about the policies and programs of the library. That's our library board, who really set the policy direction for the library in East Brunswick. And after them, the people who have to implement those things, the library staff, and particularly under the able direction and management of David Weil. We are fortunate in East Brunswick to have a person who is one of the outstanding library directors in our whole country, not just in New Jersey or the Northeast. And I think that the success of this facility and the popularity of this facility is in large measure due to his efforts.
One of the things that David pointed out to me today was something that I didn't realize. I nominated the East Brunswick Library last fall as one of the outstanding libraries in the state of New Jersey. The University of Illinois is doing a study of outstanding libraries and asked the state librarians to nominate libraries in their state, and East Brunswick obviously came to my mind right on top. David informed me that the East Brunswick Library has been chosen for that study as one of the 50 outstanding libraries in the country. So not only in New Jersey, but all over the country is East Brunswick recognized. Congratulations to everyone.
This begins the celebration of a very special year for our library, and we at the Friends are very proud of all that our library has accomplished in the past 20 years. Each year, through fundraising efforts, the Friends have been able to provide funds to the library, which are used in a variety of different ways. First, they are able to purchase equipment. They are used to fund library programs, and it's used as seed money to provide new services and new collections to our library. This year, the Friends wanted to do something very special, not only for the library, but for all our members. Over the past 3 years, money has been set aside to fund such an endeavor. And this year, I'm very happy to say that we will be providing the library with $63,000 to be used to refurbish the whole inside of the library. This will include not only the carpeting in the main section of the library, but will replace all the software furniture throughout the entire library, and will include the complete refurbishing of our meeting rooms. Work on this project has already begun and hopefully will be completed by the time of our May 3rd celebration. We hope that this will in some way repay the library for all that it has given to us as residents of East Brunswick.
I'm David Weil, Library Director, and during our 20th anniversary celebration today, it was our distinct pleasure to have with us former Mayor Alec Borman. Mr. Borman was mayor from 1965 to 68 when the first library referendum was passed, creating the public library, and he was mayor during the early years of its start. And I wonder if you'd tell us about what it was like during those days, what it took to get the referendum passed, and your impressions of the first years and your impressions of our library today.
Oh, sure. When I became mayor after having served on a school board for 10 years, the year before the referendum that was approved, there was a referendum that was defeated by the people in town. There was a library committee organized to try to get public support and to get a public approval of a library question. And in 1965, after I was elected mayor, I became involved with the drive, largely through Ethel Welsh, who is since deceased, who was a prominent member of the old library committee. Most of the political people were neutral about the library question. The Board of Education was opposed. They felt that it would take money away from the schools. So the vote was conducted in the fall of '65 and narrowly approved by, I think it was a 47 vote margin. The margin really coming out of the people lived in apartments.
The apartments right here?
There were no apartments here.
There
These
weren't.
are the apartments over in Colonial Village.
I see.
Off of 18. The only library facility that we had at that time was the Alice Appleby DeVoe Library, which is on Main Street in Old Bridge. It's a house with a couple of rooms and a part-time librarian. And that was the town's library. Used by not too many people, although they did get good usage for a small facility until we completed our plans to build a municipal building. We built we had this site which had been donated to us by the Colonial Oaks developers, and we planned and built a municipal building to house all of our municipal officials. And in the construction, we allowed for an unfinished basement. The basement area, when we completed the project, which was in early 1967, at that time, one of the developers in town who was wanting a little faster action from the town agreed to donate $35,000 to air condition and put in the shelving and equipment in the library, in the basement of the building, which became our first public library. It was great. The people used, a lot of people used it.
Everybody who is new in town may just take this for granted,
Yeah.
but hearing some of the history of how this came to be, and knowing that just 20 short years ago, or a few years before that, in 1965, we didn't even have a municipally funded public library in New Jersey. in East Brunswick.
That's right.
Makes us all realize how fast we've grown.
I like to think that the large volume of usage in the basement of the municipal building convinced all of the powers that be that we needed a library, freestanding library building of
I'm
its own.
sure it did. The fast growth of the town during those years, there were also demands for that space, but mainly people showed that they wanted a public library and that they would support a larger facility.
Well, I'm proud to have been one of the early participants in the library progress.
We're very proud to have you here today, and we're very pleased that you were a part of it, and we thank you very much for coming and for speaking with us today on Channel 8.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
And that concludes today's celebration event, kicking off our 20th library anniversary celebration. We have many more activities coming up in the months to come. For the children, we will have a happy birthday reading game. Registration is available now in the children's room. This is a variation of our winter reading club, and we hope all children in the community will participate in this. We will have a cake decorating workshop at a later date. Details will be announced. This is inspired by the wonderful cakes that were prepared for us by local bakeries, restaurants, and the Vo-Tech School for today's event. We'll have a greeting card contest for children to create a greeting card suitable for the library's 20th birthday. Details will be announced at a later date. And I'd like to remind everybody that the Friends of the Library will hold their 9th annual book sale starting March 9th at Brunswick Square Mall. It runs for a week. The book sale sells many of the thousands of books that are donated to the library each year, as well as the books that are no longer needed in the library collection. We will have a major author lecture and reception here at the end of April, featuring a noted author from New Jersey. Following our author lecture and reception at the end of April, we will have our finale on Sunday, May 3rd, which is the day closest to the opening of the library 20 years ago, May 1st, 1987. And our final event on May 3rd, it will be a major celebration like the one that you saw today. And in support of this effort over the next 4 months, the Friends of the Library will be selling a souvenir journal which will feature news and information and history about the library and advertisements placed by supporters of the library. And the proceeds from the souvenir journal will be contributed to the Friends of the Library Book Endowment, which supports purchase of library books for the library collection from interest earned on the endowment. Once again, on behalf of the library staff and Board of Trustees, I would like to thank everybody who participated in making today's event such a spectacular success. And we hope that the viewers will come to the library and see and participate in many of the activities commemorating this 20th anniversary event, as well as use our regular library services. Thank you again.
Now for a quick look at the opening of the new Ryders Lane, which took place last Saturday morning.
This is a day that we waited for a long time, something that I think will be an improvement that the town will enjoy for many years to come. I see a lot of the Ruse Lane residents here, and I know that you are happy that this day is here because it's going to make a substantial improvement in your quality of life, and I'm happy that we've been able to accomplish that. This road has been on various plans and maps since 1970, and it's one that a lot of people have hoped for a long time. I think I can't do this without expressing my appreciation to the past Township Council. Michael Baker is here. He supported this project throughout, and I appreciate that very much. I also have to express my appreciation to Bill Tanner, who is our township engineer and has spent the last year and a half of his life spending probably 80% of his time worrying about this road and trying to get it done. It's not often that towns build new roads. We were talking recently, and there might be a half dozen towns and even counties in the state who've built brand new roads in the last, say, 20 years or so. So it's an experience that you don't have a lot of experience with. And I think Bill, while we've had our difficulty, Bill has certainly managed it in a good way, and it's finally here. And so at this point, I think it's time to do it. Ryders Lane is officially open.
After the ribbon cutting, everybody went down to the intersection of Cranberry Road and the new Ryders Lane to activate the traffic light to officially open the new Ryders Lane. For this week's Health Facts spot, we'll look at a few minutes of Ken Shalhoub's Let's Talk Health, taped last month. Ken's guest, Dr. Samuel Laufer, describes a new surgical procedure for patients with scoliosis, an abnormal curvature of the spine.
And this new operation can not only get you the correction in the front, but can also maintain a more normal correction of the spine and more normal appearance of the spine when you look at it from the side. Now, if I may go to the skeleton at this point, I think I can demonstrate that nicely. When you look at a person from the front, what they will have, or look at them from the back, that spine is supposed to be completely straight. But if we'll turn this to the side, what you'll notice is that you have kind of a scooped out area in the upper part of the back, a rounded area or a round shoulderness in the middle part of the back, and a scooped out area in the lower part of the back. What the other operations tended to do is straighten everything. They created a straightness when you look at it from the front, but they also tend to cause more of a straightness when you looked at it from the side as well. And although it solved the problem very nicely, and the Harrington instrumentation is very time-tried, it's worked over a period of many years, it's a terrific operation, it's worked very, very well. But what the new operation does is, by not only straightening, but by untwisting the spine, allows you to take a curvature and turn it so that you correct it on the one view and you actually turn it into a position where you provide a certain amount of round shoulderness, which is normal and attractive, and a certain amount of curvature in the lower part of the back on the side view, which also is attractive. And what's done with the operation, the way that the operation is actually done, is that we will go ahead and take the muscles off the back part of the spine. Then, after we have the muscles off the back of the spine, we'll take some very, very small hooks, and we'll take those hooks about this size, as you see here, and we'll take those hooks and we'll place these hooks under the backbone themselves in multiple areas on the back where we want to fix the curvature. We'll then take a rod, and this is actually one of the implantable Cottrell-Dubicet rods that we use at the time of surgery. We'll then take that rod, and by stringing that rod up into the individual hooks, such as this, we can actually secure the rod to the hooks and to the spine. If you then put that on in this position, and granted that our fellow here does not have a curvature of the spine that's abnormal, let's just envision that he has a curve going this way. We'll then take this rod and we'll put it in to match his curvature, and then as we turn the rod, we will actually correct his curvature and create for him a normal amount of round shoulderness and a normal amount of scooped out area down in the lower part of the spine.
And that's all done during the surgical procedure?
That's all done during the surgical procedure. Now, we also take some...
If you're interested in learning more about current treatments for scoliosis, look for Let's Talk Health next month.
Hello, and welcome to Consumer Aware. I'm Adrienne Eisner, Director of the East Brunswick Consumer Affairs Office. Are you in the market for buying a home? Today we're going to be talking about some of the basics. If you are looking for a house, you can use a real estate broker to help you find one. Brokers have lists of houses that are available for sale, and they will show them to you. If you decide to use a broker, make sure the broker belongs to a multiple listing service, which lists all houses in the area that member brokers have for sale. The broker earns a commission, a percentage of the purchase price, whenever he or she finds a buyer for a house. The broker gets the commission from the seller when the closing is over. The closing is the time when the title of the house changes from the seller to you. Once you have found a house, you will sign a contract of sale. If you have a broker, you will probably sign a standard contract at the broker's office. At a minimum, the contract will say where the house is, who the buyer is, who the seller is, and how much it costs. It should also state the amount of deposit that you have made and a time for the closing. Once you sign the contract, a copy of it must be given to you immediately. You have the right to have a lawyer of your own choosing review the contract within 3 business days after you sign it. If the lawyer thinks that there is something wrong with the contract, he or she can cancel it for you. Whether or not you see a lawyer, there are some clauses which you should make sure are in your contract. First of all, a mortgage contingency clause. This gives you a certain amount of time to get a mortgage. If you cannot get one, you can cancel the contract. There should also be a termite inspection clause. You will have someone inspect the house for termites, and you can cancel the contract if there is termite damage that the seller refuses to repair. You should also include a home inspection clause. You will have someone inspect the house to see if it is in good structural condition, and you can cancel if there is damage that the seller will not repair. To get a mortgage, you should call banks, savings and loan associations, and mortgage companies and ask about their rates. There are different types of mortgages. Some mortgages provide for a fixed rate of interest over a fixed number of years. Others provide for an adjustable rate, which means that the interest can rise or fall as the economy changes. There are also private and government-insured mortgages. If you have a private mortgage, the bank assumes the entire risk of loss in case you fail to pay. These mortgages are known as conventional mortgages and are available only to persons who have a sufficient income and are making a down payment on the house. The interest rate on conventional mortgages is generally a bit higher than the interest rate on government-insured mortgages. Government-insured mortgages are those in which a government agency guarantees that if the person buying the home fails to pay, the government will cover any losses that would be suffered by the bank. The purpose of government guarantees is to make it safe for banks to lend money to lower-income persons who might not otherwise qualify for conventional mortgages. Government-insured mortgages are usually available through the FHA program, the Veterans Administration, and state government mortgage finance agencies. When you apply for a mortgage, you will have to pay an application fee, which may be in the area of $200. Your application will be reviewed and approved based on what you earn and what debts you owe. If you get a mortgage, you may also have to pay points to the lender. A point is equal to 1% of the purchase price of the house. If the lender approves your application, you will receive a mortgage commitment letter. Once you have that mortgage commitment, you should order a title search and title insurance. A title search will make sure that the seller owns the property and will also check to see whether there are any judgments against the seller creating liens on the property, and also whether there are any easements on the property, a right that someone else has to use it. Make sure that you get that title insurance. This protects you against a problem with the title after you buy the house. If you have any further questions about purchasing a home, please call us at the East Brunswick Consumer Affairs Office. We're there to help you with any consumer-related problems. We're in the office Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. The telephone number is 390-6954. Thank you for joining me on Consumer Aware.
At Monday night's Township Council meeting, the council appointed Kirchen and Company as Township Auditor for 1987, Louis Menno to the Redevelopment Agency, and Rabbi Chaim Rugoff, Dr. Richard Twiddle, and Deacon Richard Cassetta to the Board of Ethics. The council also passed a resolution urging Governor Kane and the New Jersey legislature to locate the proposed cultural center for the performing arts in East Brunswick. The resolution cites the central location of the township, its easy access, and dedication to the arts as prime reasons for locating the center in East Brunswick. This facility is intended to rival the acclaimed Lincoln Center in New York. During the public portion, East Brunswick resident Erwin Sporin asked the council to look into county reports of air pollution problems around the Edgeboro Route 18 intersection. According to Sporin, an air monitoring device set up at the intersection indicates there is excessive levels of particulates in the atmosphere. Township Attorney Bertram Bush said the council is already investigating the problem. He says that the state wants East Brunswick to pay out more than $11,000 to monitor the air for a year before any corrective measures are taken. Bush pointed out the irony of the situation, that the pollution is caused by truck traffic ordered to Edgeboro by the state, while the money to examine the problem has to come from East Brunswick. This subject will be discussed at Monday night's council agenda meeting. And if you're interested in finding out more about this or any other issue, you might want to join Councilman William Kirk in the library on Saturday mornings. Kirk holds informal meetings every Saturday to hear public opinion on any issue at all. Kirk told the council Monday night the first weekly meeting, held last Saturday, was a success, with more than 15 residents in attendance. That's all for this week. Thanks for watching.